happy to welcome you here today. We're excited to have this webinar and talk about building hope and leadership among women living with HIV. As we've mentioned in some of our outreach materials, that we are holding this webinar today in honor of National Women and Girls HIV Awareness Day, which is an annual event and it takes place every March 10th. So it's technically tomorrow, but we thought trying to do a webinar on a Saturday may not be so good. So we are excited to have you here. We invite everyone to say hello in the attendee chat and even mention where you're from. And we will get started in just a minute. If you are hearing me, I just want to make sure everyone is hearing me. If you are, just maybe write a quick note in the web chat. Okay, you can hear me, great. Perfect. So we are excited to have you here. I know there's a lot going on around the this event for National Women and Girls HIV Awareness Day. So there's multiple events taking place locally and online and webinars. So we're happy to have you here. And we're excited to share some new materials with you. Okay. Great. Hi, everyone. Hey, we have South Africa, Atlanta, Florida. Welcome. And of course, we have Philadelphia with Yami and Maria from Fort Lauderdale. Hello from Oklahoma. Hi from Tampa. Okay, so and I see Joe is on from India, which, thank you for joining us. We have someone from Des Moines, Iowa. Great. Awesome to see the diversity. Hey, Jenny from Miami. Thanks for joining. Okay, so we'll get started. I'm sure more people are going to join us. Hi, Yolanda from Virginia. So right now, everyone, just as a quick note, everyone is on mute except for our speakers. Again, this is Krista Martell from the Well Project, and we also have Maria Mejia and Tiami Luckett, who are also part of the Well Project team and are going to be speaking as well. During the presentation, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat and we'll bring them up. We'll also open it up, towards the end if, anyone wants to contribute to our discussion. You can just let us know and we can try and unmute you. Okay. Hello from Oregon. Okay, so without further ado, and just so you know, the webinar is being recorded, so we will be sharing the recording online and with everyone who both is participating as well as registered and may not have been able to make it, and with our larger audience. So this is our agenda. The webinar will last approximately 90 minutes. First, we'll do a quick introduction. We'll talk a little bit about the Well Project. We're going to show you our new video that we have created with the help of Vive Healthcare, provided a grant to the Well Project for Positive Action for Women. And it's a new outreach tool that we'll be using to help kind of reach women and help them understand what the Well Project is about. And then we'll do a screen sharing also of our website just to kind of give everyone an overview of the kind of comprehensive resources that are on our website and really encourage everyone to use them, for their own personal use, but also within your work or advocacy Then Tiami will talk about kind of the various levels of advocacy, and then Maria will give some hands-on tips around social media and, sharing resources via social media and some kind of her own personal, successes around that. And then we'll open it up for a discussion and Q&A. So, all right. So again, this is Krista Martel. I am the Executive Director of the Well Project. I have been with the Well Project since 2009 and have been working in the field of HIV and specifically around HIV in women since around 1995. I've had the pleasure of working with many amazing women community leaders throughout my time, and someone is LLC back there. Maria, that may be your computer. You might need to mute it. See if I can. Okay. I got it. So I think, Maria, your computer microphone was on, but I muted it. So anyways, so yes, I have, like I said, I've been very fortunate to work with, women leaders and organizations from around the country and globally for a number of years. And we like to think of the Well Project as, since we are an online resource, is kind of like a go-to place that you can access not only our resources, but the resources of other organizations and partners, and that we, trust and encourage you to get more information around. So now I'll hand it over to you, Maria, to introduce yourself. Let's see. Oh, Maria, maybe I muted you. Let me see if you want to call in, Maria, or I can, here, let me try unmuting your computer. Nope, it's not working. Okay, Tiami, we'll start with you, and I'll work on Maria. Oh, Maria, you there?
Hello?
Okay. Yes, we can hear you.
So I'm so sorry. It was getting static with my phone and the computer. Well, first of all, I want to thank everyone for joining us. Thank you, Krista, Jenna, and thank you, Tiami. You're one of my inspirations, and I'm just Maria Mejia, one of the global ambassadors for the Well Project, and I'm in their community advisory board and a very proud blogger for many years now.
Great, thank you. And Tiami?
Thank you, Krista. Thank you, Jen. Thank you so much, Maria. And thank you, everyone, for joining us. My name is Tiami Luckett. I am the communications coordinator with the Well Project. I'm also a blogger for A Girl Like Me. And I have been affiliated with A Girl Like Me and the Well Project since 2015. I met Krista and Maria at the PWN Speak Up Summit in 2014. And a year later, began blogging. So welcome, everyone.
Great, thank you. And Tiami also is, she works with the Positive Women's Network now as well, full-time. So, and we're honored to have them as one of our organizational partners that we work closely with. So, so far, as I mentioned, the webinar will take approximately 90 minutes long. And also, as I mentioned, use the chat box to, communicate with each other, as well as, enter any questions you have for any of the speakers. And we do have, I also mentioned that your lines are muted, and we can try and unmute at the end if someone wants to speak out or directly. So a little bit about this webinar series. WATCH stands for Women's Advocacy and Treatment Coalition on HIV, and it's an ongoing HIV treatment advocacy and capacity building webinar series. We launched it in 2016, I believe, or 2015 now, and you know, right at the moment we have approximately 3 to 4 webinars each year. They vary on topics that are, you know, brought to us by you, our members, and our community advisory board that kind of helps us brainstorm which topics are, you know, most needed to talk about. And we will be recording them and putting them up on our website to access. If you are interested in receiving a certificate for attending the webinar, you just send us an email and we will make sure to get that to you. Also, as I mentioned, National Women and Girls HIV/AIDS Awareness Day is an annual event that takes place on March 10th, and it's a nationwide observance that sheds light on the impact that HIV has on women and girls, and it's supported by the Office of Women's Health, and it really encourages, you know, both national and community and local organizations to come together and really raise the awareness around women and girls in the HIV epidemic. And there's a link there at womenshealth.gov if you're interested in trying to get more information about the day and any events that might be near you. Okay, so moving on. Who is the Well Project? We are a nonprofit organization whose mission is to change the course of the HIV/AIDS pandemic through unique and comprehensive focus on women and girls. We were founded in 2002 by Dawn Averett, who is a leading HIV treatment advocate and who was diagnosed in 1988 at the age of 19 and quickly saw that there was very little information or resources for women, and has been a leading voice around, you know, advocating for more research around women, you know, and specifically even around pregnancy, also around clinical trial design to make clinical trials more accessible to women so that we have, you know, specific research around women in HIV. And basically the Well Project uses a platform of technology and a website to really work on improving health outcomes and increasing the quality of life for women and girls around the globe by providing comprehensive information and a support community as well as advocacy building. And you can access our resources at thewellproject.org, which we will be showing you in just a minute. So why are we specifically, you know, focused on women? Well, first of all, women globally make up more than half the population of people living with HIV, and it's an overwhelmingly Black and brown women that comprise the epidemic. Half of all people living with HIV are women, as I said, and most live in sub-Saharan Africa and Asia. Also, trans women are nearly 50 times more likely to be living with HIV than the general adult population. Currently in the U.S., about 1/4 of people living with HIV are women, and while Black women and Latinas make up nearly 80% of these women, but only account for about 30% of the U.S. female population. It's also important to note that American Indians and Alaska Native communities experience the 3rd highest HIV rate of any racial group in the U.S. They're not often, you know, brought into the conversation because they comprise a small population, but the rates of HIV are quite high. And as we mentioned, while Asian and Pacific Islanders are not, you know, as heavily impacted, cultural factors leave women very vulnerable to HIV and make it harder for them to connect to care. So it's really important that we kind of look at the specific needs of women, which are quite different than men, and you know, and within each different culture and population also vary. So as I mentioned, our areas of focus are information, community, and advocacy, and we're going to go through kind of these various resources that we have, but you know, the Well Project is really brought together by a need for women-specific information. So one of our you know, biggest resources are our fact sheets, our library of fact sheets, which we work very hard to keep updated. We also are constantly filling gaps with new information that we, you know, don't feel is covered elsewhere with a specific lens to women. We also, as I mentioned, our community support is our blogs primarily. It started with A Girl Like Me, and then we added Una Chica Como Yo, which is for Spanish-speaking women. We have more than 700 blogs on so many different topics from more than 80 bloggers from around the globe. We also engage a lot on social media, and you can find us on Facebook and Twitter, Instagram. We're increasingly going to be on YouTube, and not only the Well Project, but a lot of our members also engage a lot on social media. And then advocacy building is through both the webinars like this one, as well as you know, going to conferences and doing presentations at different conferences and workshops, but also engaging our members and community advisory board members to present at conferences and represent the Well Project as advocates. So, so as I mentioned, we work hard to keep our fact sheets up to date, and really they're there to both increase personal knowledge. Also, the connection with other women living with HIV has shown great impact. Women have, you know, told us that they feel less alone by even just by reading a blog from someone else that shares their similar experience and less isolated. We're also, you know, really interested in everyone using these resources to educate others and advocate on behalf of others, and then, you know, to increase leadership skills. So as we move forward, we're hoping that by giving you kind of a real in-depth look at our resources, that you can use these more within your, you know, personal lives and within your work. We recently conducted a survey to kind of measure the impact of these resources, and one of the key things that we found is that people seeing other women living with HIV who are thriving has really given them hope, especially someone who's newly diagnosed and may have, you know, a lot of fear around their HIV diagnosis, but seeing other women has helped them have hope. Then they also feel more connected to a community. Many times, kind of that self-esteem building has also, you know, had them accept only respectful and caring behavior from their partners, family, and friends, and, you know, being able to speak out more for themselves, both in their personal lives and even with healthcare providers. And then often we see kind of an evolution where that leads to women beginning to advocate more for others living with HIV. Okay, so next, to give you kind of an overview, we're going to share, I'm going to screen share, and I'm going to show the new video that we produced. And I'm also going to copy the link here into the chat, just in case you're not able to view it for any connection reasons. So let me take a moment here. Okay. So hopefully everyone can see my screen, and I'm going to go ahead and play our video. Wait 1 second. I'm sorry. I'm going to stop and make sure my volume is on. Okay. Technical difficulties here. Let's see. No, that's not working. Sorry, everyone. I was a little bit nervous about okay. Well, if we can't hear the volume, you can follow along, but maybe we won't play the whole video, and we'll just ask everyone to take a look at it after the webinar. I'm not sure what is happening. I'm sorry. This isn't working. Okay. Well, that did not work, unfortunately. Sorry about that. Okay. Well, I will, as I mentioned, we've got the link there, and we'll share that with everyone, and we'll hopefully, maybe I'll try and troubleshoot while someone else is speaking, and see if I can get it to work towards the end. In the meantime, I'm going to move on, and I'm going to go back to sharing my screen, but this time will just be me walking through a little bit of our resources, and hopefully everyone can see that. So okay, so hopefully most of you have been to the Well Project's website and are familiar with this. Essentially, in the scroll bar that we have at the top, we kind of share recent events, or we have featured fact sheets, we have featured blogs, upcoming events. We also feature partners and spotlights of women living with HIV. So that's always a good way to kind of see what's new and what we're trying to highlight. We also just want to point out that we have this search function that is really useful in case you don't have the time to go through and go through all the different categories to look for something, and you have a specific topic that you're interested in getting content on. You can pretty much type any word into the search function, and what will come up are both fact sheets that are around that topic. We also have blogs that will come up around that topic, so you can get both kind of information as well as personal experiences that may be on that topic. And we think that's a really useful function to be able to, like, if you're looking, like if you're doing a presentation or you're looking up information on a specific area, that we want to encourage people to use. So this is a sample fact sheet. Each fact sheet has a table of contents, so if you are looking for something on a specific topic and you don't want to go through the whole thing, you can kind of jump around based on the topic. We also have, as I mentioned, we link out to other resources outside of the Well Project, but ones that we trust, and we encourage you, if you're needing additional information around a specific topic, this is also a really great resource, and we make sure that those are kept up to date as well. Lastly, we also hyperlink within each fact sheet, both to our own resources, might go to another fact sheet of ours, like this, or to outside resources. We also just want to point out at the top of each fact sheet and blogs and most of our content are these share buttons that make it really easy to share via Twitter or a lot of different, social media platforms. You can also click print or email or save, and those will save the fact sheets as a PDF if you want to print it out and use it, in a venue that may not have access to the internet. I know Bose is on, and she's one of our global ambassadors who is in Nigeria, and she'll go out to schools all around the country in Nigeria and just use the printed fact sheets around like HIV basics and talk to large groups of people, and really is not using the internet or the website at that moment at all, but still is able to utilize the information in her work and advocacy. So then just to give you, as I mentioned, we have over 110 fact sheets. So if you go to HIV information, you'll see these are all the different categories we have for fact sheets. And then we also have, like I said, Women Making a Difference, which highlights a lot of our community advisory board members. We do conference updates from time to time. The webinars houses all the information that we have on past webinars. We also have our top 10 fact sheets, and we have been translating a lot of our most popular fact sheets into Spanish, which we will show you in just a second. But just to give you an example, if you click on, say, Women, Children, and Family, you'll see these are all the different fact sheets, within that category. And several fact sheets span over multiple categories, so you might see a fact sheet, repeated in other categories. But like I said, this is really, a resource that we take a lot of pride in, and we feel is very unique to, have this library of information and keep it updated. And it goes through both a editorial review pretty much annually, if not a little bit longer, as well as a medical review of, through our, we have various women, we're adding another one, but 3 clinicians that are women and work regularly with women living with HIV that also go through review. Over here, you can also access our fact sheets in Spanish, and this has been just added in the past year and a half or so, but has been one of our most growing resources. And you can see, like, this is I equals I is the U equals U version of the fact sheet, transmission, myths in HIV, trans women living with HIV. So we definitely encourage usage of that as well. Then I am going to just point out something that we have recently added. A lot of times in some of the fact sheets that we've done webinars on, you can access the slides for that fact sheet if they've been created, and to make it easier, especially for people that maybe have support groups or even providers that are talking to groups or just peer advocates, we've created the slide library that you can access the slides to use in your work. And so we think that this should be a really important resource to people, working with other women living with HIV. And the slides here are available in the PDF form, but we have an email that if you are interested in getting the PowerPoint version, to just please let us know. And then I'm going to also just kind of, oh, I'm already there. This is A Girl Like Me, our blog, and you can see we have, women from all over the world that share experiences. We also put the blogs into, various categories and themes. So, if you're interested in kind of reading someone else's experiences around disclosure or dating or, family issues, you can sort the blogs by a specific category and, and get various perspectives and experiences on that. And also, you can browse themes here. You can see all the different contributors to the blogs and also access Una Chica Como Yo. Then next, we just want to point out that we encourage everyone to become a member if you're not already on the website, and it will also allow you to subscribe to our monthly e-newsletters, and we're adding also an update, it's actually going to be a weekly update newsletter that will go out that will just kind of send you any fact sheets or blogs that came out in that past week or that are, have been recently updated. So we think that's a great way to kind of engage with our members. This is the whole area. You can kind of go see, here's all the members. This image here is kind of the default image, but once you become a member, you can go in and edit your profile. You can add your own image. You can, add information about yourself. I'll show Joe, for example, has added her image, where she's from, a biography. You can also put your social media handles there. Since Joe is also a blogger, these are all her blogs that you can access. Also the great thing about this is we have a lot of members and bloggers that are not yet public with their status, so they don't necessarily, you don't have to put your name, you don't have to put your real picture, but you can put a picture of a flower or the ocean. So there's, it's definitely a way to engage with other people and still remain anonymous, and we, think that that's a really important feature of this community. Other benefits of becoming a member are that you can either join a group or you can start your own group and kind of create a place to connect with other people that, on a specific topic. That we have this one on women long-term survivors. We also have a group that, we post HIV events and conferences, which is an open group. So you could, as a member, go on and post an event or conference that's going on that you are doing that you want other people to know about. Your group can be open. It could also be private if you don't want other people, except for the people that you've invited to it, to, see the activity within the group. So this is a good way for people who may not have a website or a place to post things to kind of connect with each other. And if there's any questions, you can always come to us about how to work that. We do have these community guidelines and frequently asked questions, and that kind of take you step by step through some of those things. So that's kind of the social. The other part of becoming a member is when you're logged in, you can also, which I'm not right now, but you can also then, like, if you're on a blog, it allows you then to comment on the blog or, interact with other people. There's an online chat for other members that are online, kind of like on Facebook. You can see who's online and chat with them. You can like something. And so those are some of the benefits of being a member. So, and then quickly, I'll just also, we have partners that we love to, work with. We also, if you're an organization that you think would benefit from kind of having a partner page and being profiled on the Well Project, we're always interested in, kind of lifting up the great work of other organizations serving both women living with HIV, but also, and obviously trans women living with HIV, but also, some organizations are not just women specific, but they're still doing great work, and, it's important for us to kind of work together, highlight their work and their events, and it allows us a platform to do more collaborative activities. If you're interested in finding out a little bit more about the Well Project, you can go to Who We Are, and you can see, this is our community advisory board, read about our team, why our focus is on women, and just get, more information about the Well Project there. And then lastly, but not least, we also have a program called the Women's Research Initiative on HIV and AIDS, and this is a membership group that focuses on advancing research for women, and holds an annual meeting on different topics related to really kind of diving in deep into the research available for that topic around women and ways to, advance the agenda specifically to women. So you can read more about that there. So with that said, that is kind of my quick tour of the Well Project, and we really just want to make sure that you know that we're here as a resource. It's available 24/7. If you're an organization that in any way could benefit from sharing these resources on your website or on social media, or like I said, within a group, or in any way, shape, or form, that's what it's here for. And we just want to make sure that people don't spend time trying to create their own fact sheets or resources when we have things here for you to use and share as widely as possible. Okay, so that is, I'm going to just bring up the slide set, and so that was the tour, and I hope that was helpful. So now I'm going to hand it over to Tiami, and she's going to talk more about advocacy. And let me know, Tiami, if you want me to forward the slides.
Okay. Thank you, Krista. Yes, you can go ahead. I did the introduction, and as Krista said, I do work at Positive Women's Network. I am the communications assistant there, as well as the Block Project coordinator with in conjunction with the USPL HIV Caucus. And right now, my task is to talk about the different forms of advocacy, right? And as we look at the slide, we see that we start at the center. That's ourself, right? We're talking about, we're advocating for self. And then we go from there and we have individual advocacy for others. Following that, we have community advocacy, as well as political and public advocacy. And chances are that you guys who are on this webinar have already experienced advocacy in one of these forms. Next slide, Krista, please. And here we're just going to break it down for the sake of this webinar, what we mean when we say these different terms. So as I stated, the different forms of advocacy, when we're talking about self-advocacy, we're talking about speaking up for yourself, right? Individual advocacy for others, that could include peer advocacy, means speaking up on behalf of someone else and or supporting others to speak up for themselves. A lot of us in this HIV movement say that, we are here to be the voice for those who are voiceless, right? That goes into community advocacy, getting together with others to speak up about changes that need to be made on a larger scale. We know things that affect our community, and we can't get all of the community to get on board. Well, change has to start with someone, right? And so when enough people are aware of the problem, then we get that support that we actually need, right? And we can take it to an even larger scale than just what's going on in our community and talk about what's going on like in our regions or our state. That takes us into political and public advocacy, speaking up to those in power on a national or international level. Actually, come to think of it, that's how I started. I started out political and public advocacy. I spoke out for the first time about being a person living with HIV from Arkansas after Medicaid expansion and what that meant for me. I never knew that that's what I was doing, right? So I kind of walked into my purpose by accident. Next slide, Krista. Now, we also use the Well Project to educate and advocate for others, and we do that through a variety of ways, right? Krista talked about the fact sheets and showed you the slide decks, and we use that and we've come to find that they're helpful in building self-knowledge and educating others. With A Girl Like Me and Una Chica Camayo, that is the blog that I myself write for. We find that it is a useful blog to remind women that they're connected and not alone. That's actually one of the things that I myself have found to be true in actually writing for A Girl Like Me, like the women who reach out to me and just saying that, they connect with my story on some level, because like even though we're in different areas, we're probably not even in the same country, but we're still going through the same struggle, just by being women living with HIV. We've also hosted webinars, and we have found to see that they help to increase knowledge and advocacy skills, which also connect more women to community by encouraging others to participate. So a sort of call to action. And when people have started, people started seeing me like speaking in different places. They started seeing me on webinars like this, hearing my voice, and it prompted them to want to actually do something as well. So we know that the process actually works. Next slide, Krista. Now, this slide here is taken from a recent survey of Well Project users, and what it's telling us is that 63% used our resources to provide support and information as an HIV peer educator or advocate. That goes back to what Krista was saying, like, we don't want you guys to just come here and use it for yourselves. We want you to actually go out and disseminate this information and let people know that we're here. We are a resource, a trusted resource, and we constantly update these fact sheets. And also what it shows us is that 56% used our resources to educate people as an HIV educator. Now, what the slide says, this graphic here, this is a graphic of the number of people with whom women living with HIV participants shared the Well Project's resources annually. At 100 or more, 30.4%. 11 to 100, 15.7%. 1 to 10 was at 40.2%. And 0 was at 13%. That's the breakdown of this information in graphic form. Go ahead, Krista. Next slide. Supporting self-care. What we do know is that burnout is real. Burnout is real. I've experienced it. I'm sure that anyone who has put any amount of time into advocacy, period, whether it's HIV or aging or healthcare, because healthcare was a really big fight, right? There was a lot of burnout. Now, being a leader can be rewarding, but unless you take time to refuel yourself, you are at risk for burnout and depression. But what is burnout? What is burnout? Again, for the sake of this webinar, burnout means feeling cynical about your work, doubtful about your effectiveness or being overwhelmed, feeling numb, feeling frustrated, feeling bored, or feeling unappreciated, right? And the work doesn't end. It doesn't end. Especially in this political climate, there is an attack at every turn, right? And it can cause all of these things because when you have become a public figure, people come to you for answers, especially when they're used to you being out front. And so when you go to feeling doubtful about your effectiveness, or you go to feeling overwhelmed, what do you do in those instances, right? We're hoping that you find some way to take care of yourself so that it doesn't lead to the next bulleted item, which is depression, feelings of hopelessness, lacking interest in many activities, having trouble sleeping or concentrating, and not taking HIV treatment or managing your health, right? That can be symptoms of depression. Next slide, Krista. Again, still talking about self-care. Self-care can break stress cycle leading to burnout, and it enables you to recover energy and passion, right? But you need to find out what it is that drains you so that you can then go to what it is that fills you up or re-energizes you, right? So just like I was saying in the last slide, looking at the HIV movement, looking at the trans movement, both big things right now, right? But then there are these attacks that keep happening within the trans community. I myself am a trans woman of color. I know that murders are happening within my community, right? And it's a lot. It is a lot to be looked at as a trusted resource, and people to want to know, they want me to say something about it, right? But what about me? I'm steady pouring into people, the masses actually, but what about when I need someone to pour into me? And what if they're not around? Then I got to take it upon myself to not get to feeling hopeless or uninterested in any activities, or I just can't do this anymore, right? I have to find ways to re-energize myself. So is it that I need more sleep? Do I need to be outside? Do I need a friend over that can, like, really make me laugh and forget? Maybe I need to write a blog for the Well Project to talk about how I'm feeling, on a girl like me. Get my feelings out, right? Or just the evening out with the friends. It doesn't have to be drinks. It doesn't have to be anything like that, but just some way to escape. Maybe the movies, little retail therapy, whatever it takes, whatever self-care looks like to you. It is very important that it be at the top of your list, because you can't be anything for anyone else when you have nothing to give. And I've been there. More often than not, I will say yes before I say no. But I have learned that no is a complete sentence, and it does not require a response or an explanation. So, but what does self-care look like for me, right? For one, when I got the job at Positive Women's Network, I took on some of the responsibilities of social media, right? So being a policy-driven organization, I'm always aware of what's coming out of the White House, the Senate, the Congress, right? I've had to be like the front voice on some of those things, especially when it came to trans issues. And it was like we just couldn't catch a break. We could not catch a break, right? Not privately, not socially, not politically. We just couldn't catch a break. Family was in disarray. And what did I do? When I came on it, Positive Women's Network, I took on their social media. I stopped my social media account, right? Because I knew that my personal social media accounts were affecting me in ways that could affect me professionally. And I did not want that to happen. But then what about when I kept seeing what's coming out of, the administration and from legislators? How do I escape that when that's my job? What I had to do was I had to find a way to disassociate after I get off work, after I clock out, right? And everyone at Positive Women's Network has drilled it into me. You work these hours. You don't do this past that, right? Because I just felt like it was always something I needed to do. I felt like I wasn't doing enough, but I was wearing myself thin. So I found a way to get out of trans issues. I found a way to get out of HIV issues. I found a way to get out of racial justice issues. and I found a way to just feel normal, like almost like ignorance is bliss. And I went around people who really like weren't aware. They really weren't aware of what was going on, and it gave me opportunities to educate them, but not on the scale to where you need to be doing something. You need to be doing something, right? So I'm still very much trans, still very much Black, still very much a person living with HIV. All of these things still affect me, but it did give me some time to just take a break and be able to breathe and feel normal and not constantly feel bombarded by the issues of the world and the world around me, right? So I unplugged from social media. I actually get sleep. I get sleep. I make sure, more often than not, I will cook for myself. That's giving me time away from the computer. It's giving me time away from MSN and CNN and all of that, right? Things that are actually I need to do for myself, I found the time to do for myself. Right. Jenny says, I know it's hard. I still recommend just blocking people. Right. And I've had to do that too. I had to do that too. So I had to disassociate from people that I felt were very toxic, although I knew that in this movement I would come across them. Right. But my whole thing is we can work together for our collective liberation. We can do that. We can do that. Not everyone is going to like us. I'm not even going to stress about that. But what I do know is that I will have so much to share with others when I take time for myself. And it is hard. Jenny is correct. It is hard to actually put yourself first without feeling selfish, especially in this movement where we feel like it is our duty to serve, right? But we serve ourselves an injustice when we're not taking care of ourselves. Next slide, Krista.
Yeah, I think that's a really, really important part because, especially the more you've established yourself as a leader, people expect you to speak out on pretty much all the issues that we're faced with on a daily basis right now. And then when you don't, it's kind of like, well, why didn't you, do that or do that, And I think that it's just, but there's only so much. You're doing it for your job all day, and of course you care about other things, but you need to take care of yourself. And I just think to reiterate that, and we need to, all of us that are working together in this community need to kind of almost set up buddy systems where you're checking in on people to make sure that they're doing that and that they're doing the same for you, because I think otherwise it's just hard. It's like you're swirling. So, and before we move on, I just want to give Maria too a chance. Maybe you can just chime in on kind of some of the things that has worked for you in terms of self-care as well.
Yes, I'm going to do a little piggyback on what Tiami said. She is very accurate. I have been doing this work since the year 2000, almost 19 years. And I have been burned out many, many times. I'm still in the process of learning self-care, believe it or not, because it is very hard sometimes, especially when you get a message maybe at 2 a.m. of someone that's around, maybe in a different part of the world that just got diagnosed that they're suicidal. Even though I am not a professional, sometimes just answering a little bit gives them hope. And but I am learning to say, I will write me back on Monday if it's not something so urgent. What has helped me in a way I have practiced yoga, I've done acupuncture, Reiki, but the most important thing as far as myself, because I know everyone cannot do it because of physical situations, because of fatigue, but it even helps for my fatigue, is I like to lift weights. I like to work out in the gym because that's where I leave all my frustrations, all my anger. When I am depressed, I haven't been depressed in such a long time, even though life has, continuously throws things at us. But working out is in sweating and lifting steel. The sound of it has is a good addiction for me, and it has helped my mental health because, as I tell people, you could be adherent, you could blog, you could be a great advocate, you could have a support system, but if your mental health is not well, you will go down. So exercise, I recommend exercise to everyone. And if you cannot exercise I like tough, like a sergeant, I like, to pump iron. But if you cannot do that, there's a ways that you could do, like I said, you could do yoga, which is not that strenuous. And you could read a book. You could try to just do simple things that don't cost a lot of money. Like if you have access to a park or to the beach or to something that you could just sit there and just like observe the beauty that we have in the world, that sometimes we are so caught up in this world and all the problems in the world and our own problems and other people's problems that we forget to even look at the sky and at the trees and things like that. And that's what's helped me.
Thank you. And I think those are all really important, and everyone has kind of their own, but I think it's really important just to really take some time and not only talk about this part because it's really important, but to, share different things that work for you. So I can quickly, this is also from our survey, when we were talking about, the impact of the Well Project's resources, we kind of broke it into like engagement in care and self-care, as well as outlook on living with HIV. And these are some of the things that people said that, as a result of kind of being engaged with the Well Project's resources and, reading blogs and hearing from other women and kind of getting more information, that, as I mentioned, that kind of accepting only respectful behavior from others, making more of an effort to get rest and eat healthy foods, exercise or move more regularly, also seek out care for depression or other mental health issues, practice safer sex, and then also, obviously, a huge issue within our HIV community is kind of experiencing past or current violence or trauma and seeking out some either, health or help around that, or just even talking to someone else. And sometimes, again, that's just like an anonymous comment on a blog or something that, just by like writing it out, we've, many people have told us that like just it kind of lifts something off of them by, getting it out onto, and putting it out and having a conversation with someone else. So, so this is, so we're happy that we're able to have that impact. Okay, so thank you, Tiami, for kind of talking about all that and all your personal kind of insights. I think, you're seeing a lot of people that are relating a lot to this, and I think as we, I've certainly seen as, like in people's growth in their leadership positions, that, once people start, relying on someone and you being asked to be a speaker and go here and do that and be on this board and that, advisory panel, and you start getting really stretched out. And I think that's, a really important part of, developing leadership is to kind of try and, put this self-care piece into it before it's too late, and someone does kind of get into that burnout place. So okay, so Maria, I'm going to hand it over to you and talk more about social media.
Okay. Well, again, I'm Maria Mejia. I'm the Well Project's Global Ambassador. I started as a blogger. I'm also in their CAB. But my activism really started in a very small setting in Jackson Memorial Hospital in Miami in special immunology, being a tester, giving educational classes. And I was comfortable speaking in small groups like schools, churches, prisons, and places like that because of the stigma. Obviously, for those that know my story, when I was diagnosed in 91, my mother sat me down and told me that I could not tell anyone of family or friends. Back then, we did not have social media. So in the year 2000, as I was being seen as a patient, the supervisor there offered me to become a volunteer. So I started as a volunteer, and I did also for the Red Cross as an HIV trainer, and also of course with the Florida Health Department. I did my volunteer work every day for approximately 8 years. As I continued to do that, I started getting a little bit more known as far as like in schools and universities and places like that. And then when social media started, I saw something, and I knew that I was going to be able to reach the masses. And social media, I will call it the monster, because obviously you can utilize it for the good or for the bad. So I was one of the first people in social media as far as what you call a social media activist, but that's not only the only thing that I did. So I remember researching for blogs, because I didn't want to start my own blog. I wanted to find a sisterhood, because that was very important for me, because when I was diagnosed, I didn't have social media. I didn't know anyone else that had HIV. I didn't have a support system. The only person that knew that I had HIV was my mother and my little brother back then. So basically, social media is such an amazing tool for all of us. And throughout the years, we have seen the impact that it has nationally and internationally. Social media describes ways to communicate or share information with large groups of people, what I call the masses. Examples include blogs, chat rooms, videos, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, and I will add Snapchat too, because the youth is there and I utilize that as well. Is an important tool for nonprofit organizations, individual advocates to get information out to large groups for little or no cost. For example, when I saw the reach that it could have around 9 years ago, which is kind of like when I also started with the Well Project. That's why I put Maria HIV Mejia in my name, with the HIV in the middle, so I could attract others that were living with HIV or that were curious, and they would ask me, why do you have HIV in the middle of your name? I also founded the two largest online support groups in Facebook. It has currently over 40,000 active members. And obviously one is in English and the other one is in Spanish. And being a part of the Well Project has helped me with all of these different social media tools, obviously it's like something the Well Project has been, and not because, I mean, I love the Well Project. I feel like it is mine because it's for all of us, and it belongs to all of us. We're like an amazing sisterhood of women that are leaders and that are empower other women to become leaders. So the Well Project helped me, with YouTube, with Twitter, with Facebook, with promoting my international support groups for people that are living with a condition of HIV or affected. So I am grateful once again to the Well Project for that. An important tool for nonprofit organizations, individual advocates, as I said, to get information out to large groups for little or no cost. That's something that started, coming along as us advocates that started like doing it on our own. We started seeing, different organizations, the CDC, in HIV.org, the Well Project, every nonprofit organization or individual advocates that really do not have, because a lot of them write me and tell me, Maria, how can I be an activist? And I tell them, well, it's not as simple as it sounds. It takes more than social media. It's like, it's part of our lives, but social media is something that is crucial for any nonprofit organization or for any advocate that does not have any organization, let's say, supporting their work. Next slide, Krista, please. Use an alias if you are not comfortable using your real name in an online HIV group, forums, or websites. With that is something that I have always encouraged people, because many people say, oh, Maria, I cannot be your friend on Facebook, for example, because HIV is in the middle of your name. And that makes me very sad. And I have written blogs about that, because HIV has so much stigma that people are even afraid to add me as a friend. It's gotten better with the years, but they are very afraid because I have HIV and I'm public about it. So I tell them, in social media, the good thing, and it could be a bad thing too for the ones that use it in a negative way, but we're going to talk about positivity here. We could be anyone that we want to be. I tell them, create a Facebook page, use a different name, put the picture of a rainbow or a ribbon or any picture that you want. You could be anyone that you want to be, and you could receive the support system that you need. And that goes not only for your own personal Facebook page or activism page or groups, but it also for the Well Project. When you enter as a member, you could be, or even as a blogger. Not everyone wants to show their faces. Not everyone is an activist that shows their faces. There's behind the scene works. There's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes that people don't see. And they just figure that they see us posting on social media and that's all that we do. And that is very incorrect. Educate yourself about HIV using resources and websites like the Well Project. I want to emphasize on that because I have a lot of people that think that we are just bloggers. Yes, we are bloggers. Yes, we are storytellers. But like Krista described in the beginning, we are a fountain of information. We have so much accurate information. We have all the information that is up to date. As Krista showed in the beginning, I think I'm not going to go into that. She already did, but it is very important. And please, I don't want you all to just visit it. I want you all to share. There's the share buttons there, so other people can find out, because there's still, after so many years that the Well Project has been around, there's people that think that we are just, a girl like me or una chica como yo, and we are much more than that. But most importantly, as I said, we are a sisterhood, and our partners are our sisters as well, and our brothers. Becoming a successful social media activist requires a lot of time and dedication, often unpaid, and that is a fact. A lot of people try to get in activism because they figure we are millionaires or we're getting paid by pharma millions and all these things, and that is very inaccurate. Any advocate or activist will tell you that we are not paid really for, I would say, 80% of our work. So this has to be a vocation, a mission, a passion, and you will get burned out. You kind of have to regroup because your body just will give out on you. But you have to do what you're gonna have to do what you have to do to regroup yourself and continue. Because I could tell you that I have certain hours that I work for the Well Project, but I could tell you that sometimes I have 16, 17 hours of work, and it's answering emails and inboxes in Twitter, in YouTube, in Instagram, in Facebook, in my groups, to the point where I have approximately 60 volunteers in both of my international groups because I had to step down because I just cannot keep up anymore. I'm a one human being and I cannot afford to get sick. As we all know, if we become depleted, we cannot help anyone else and we will become ill. And then most of the time, activists, if we don't have a good support system in person, that's one of my problems because I tend to be very to myself, and I'm trying to change that to become more sociable. As far as an in-person, we sometimes are very isolated, especially long-term survivors as myself. I'm a 29-year survivor, and that's something that I am pushing myself to change, not only to see my support system in conferences or chatting, but also in person is a very important thing. Okay, you're just getting started. Consider joining an existing group or social media campaign. I'm an advisor for Janssen Pharmaceuticals for their social media campaigns. I'm an ambassador for Greater Than AIDS. I sit on the CAN board in Washington. And also with the CDC, Let's Stop HIV Together, Tengamos el VIH Juntos. And any social media campaign that wants to have, obviously, Latinos are a population that do not want to show their faces. I tell them, please come to the shows, get on these campaigns, and the stigma is so bad. And that I don't believe not only in the Latino communities, but even all communities of color, but there's more visibility in certain communities, but the Latino community, especially women, and heterosexual men, they do not want to come out of the HIV closet because of the horrendous stigma, which is actually what is killing our people. Next slide. There are many online communities on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram, and Snapchat. Facebook is my number one, even though a lot of the younger generation tells me, Maria, Facebook is for old people. I'm like, okay. but we have to cover everyone. So YouTube is actually kind of like where I started. And the Well Project helped me because I would upload my bilingual YouTube videos. And obviously the Well Project was already established. So all my blogs and my YouTube videos, since they put it in their website, it helped promote it and it helped me have more national and international visibility. So YouTube is a wonderful place if you're out. It is a very hard work. You have to continuously upload videos about different subjects that have to do with your life. It's like mine is called Maria's Journal. Twitter, everything that I write on Facebook or videos that I upload on YouTube, they instantly go to my Twitter. I am not really since I like to talk a lot and write a lot, I kind of get frustrated on, kind of like making the message shorter. I mean, I try the best that I can. And Instagram is more of my personal place. I do put a lot of things of like my life, like working out, going to different events, pictures of myself. But I also put a lot of my activism work or things that I'm going to do as far as like, let's say if I have media or I'm going to be speaking somewhere. Again, the younger generation and even the older generation and everything in between, they're very visual. And if you want to capture people that are HIV negative as well, you have to kind of attract them with certain images because, being visual, showing a face to the story is very crucial. Even though, like I said, you don't have to be visible to be an advocate. You can find people in groups by searching for information. Hashtag, when you put the number sign before a word, phrase, your name. You could search hashtag HIV or hashtag VIH on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram to a post that include the hashtag. What I also do to bring traffic to whatever message I am trying to disperse it throughout the whole United States or the world, is that I look in Yahoo for the trend, even if it has nothing to do with HIV, for the trending topics. And since everyone is clicking actually on that hashtag, I include obviously my name, the Well Project, U equals U, which I'm very passionate about, hashtag HIV positive, everything that has to do with HIV, but also things that will bring traffic to your cause. Common hashtags for HIV advocacy, as I said before, hashtag HIV, hashtag VIH, hashtag AIDS, hashtag U equals U, hashtag indetectable equivale intransmisible, which is in Spanish. Look for online communities like the Well Project. And this is a wonderful place that has done so much, with my own eyes with them when it was, it already had started, but it was like it was like still like a baby, and it has grown and grown and grown, and I am so proud of it and so proud of everyone that works there. Krista, you are one of my inspirations. Jenna, Dawn, everyone that works there. This is a place where women and girls from all over the globe connect with each other, share their experiences, and also please use the hashtag The Well Project. I always say there's a place where we get empowered, we show and lead by example. A lot of the women that I know that I have recruited for the Well Project, because I also mentor a lot of women because they don't even know how to blog or where to start. There's a lot of mentoring involved in this. I tell them that, to look at us, not to come out if they don't need to. But you know what I have seen throughout the years? They get to a point where they say, you know what? I'm going to be visible now. I do not care. So they get empowered themselves, and it's like a little chain, and then they empower others in their community. And this is something that is very important. Next slide. Okay, again, sharing information, the Well Project resources, women living with HIV participants were most likely to share 41.7% HIV information and fact sheets. Again, we're not just bloggers. We have very, very, very important fact sheets in English and many in Spanish. So please share it with all your networks. with all your groups, with all your organizations, with clinics. I mean, the information is just like I said, is a fountain of information. 14.3% information posted on Facebook and Twitter pages. 13.1% information from treatment advocacy webinar series, which are amazing, and they're always recorded like this one. 11.9% blogs for a girl like me, una chica como yo, which is something that I'm super proud that the Well Project is doing, because Latin America and people in Spain are and even people here in the U.S. that do not speak English, they're hungry for information, and they're so thankful that the Well Project has, started this and made a space for them to get the information they're so hungry for. 9.5% news from the e-newsletters and 9.5% reports from the WRI, Women's Research Initiative. Next slide. It's easier than it looks. Okay. It is easier than it looks, but at the same time, you have to be prepared, because once you start, unless you get burned out and you just quit, because I know many advocates that say, you know what, I'm going to just shut all my pages down. I'm going to rest for a while, but I don't have that privilege, unfortunately, because it's just that it has become more than myself. This is about, about humanity, about others. But it is, it's not that difficult. I taught myself. So if you feel like it's too hard or too complicated, you come to people like us that kind of know a little bit about social media, and we'll be more than happy to help you. And that's why we're having this webinar today. Facebook has groups, as I mentioned, personal pages, my personal page. I have a public page and my personal page, but they're all open to the public because I obviously reached the limit. I don't have a Facebook page, unfortunately, because it's too much. Public or private organizations, everyone is there, and this is the truth. Twitter uses small messages, which I have a little problem with, but not everyone does, and can reach a lot of people. But as I said, I connect everything, and it always goes to my Twitter. So I do have a lot of traffic there as well. Use hashtags and tag others that are part of our mission. This is something very important to do, and it brings traffic to your cause and to your mission. Again, use the hashtags and tags, super important. YouTube videos are great for visual activism. Again, I started in YouTube, and it continuously is growing and growing. I have more than 1.5 million views as far as my message, but truthfully, I haven't really done the last YouTube video I did, I think, was last year, when the amazing news undetectable and transmittable finally was validated in the International AIDS Society in Paris at 4 p.m. Paris time, where they said, undetectable equals untransmittable. Immediately I went and I made the YouTube video in English and in Spanish, and a lot of the people that follow me there have been asking me to start again, and I will, but I have to kind of slow it down a little bit because I am doing too much at once. And learning to say no, thing for me to do. So sometimes it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I have not ate, and that is not good self-care. So I'm trying to utilize all these advice that all of you give me, and all the advocates give me, and we give each other, so we don't have the continuously burnout, or we don't get fatigued and sick. But yes, YouTube is not that difficult. Most people have smartphones. You go to YouTube, you make your account, you can name it whatever you want. Mine is Maria's Journal, and you just upload and start talking, just like if you're blogging, but instead of doing that, you're just speaking to your phone or to your laptop. You upload it, you connect it to Twitter, you connect it to Facebook, and you don't even have to do it yourself. It just goes there. And then with the Well Project, what I do is with my blogs, I send it directly to them, and they're so very kind to always have shared my YouTube videos, and that has brought a lot of traffic to my channel. Instagram, at the beginning, I didn't really like it too much, but again, the youth is there. A lot of HIV negative youth and adults as well. It right now is up, I believe, up to 23,000 followers, and it started with maybe 1,000, and it's been growing and growing. And again, people are very visual. You could, for example, if you want to promote, let's say what I did today, I wanted to promote this webinar. So I utilized the story in Instagram, which is, little videos that you continuously make. I also take a screenshot, and under the screenshot, I put the hashtags, I put the website of the Well Project, and I tell them to register or to whatever it is that I am doing. I just, communicated via Instagram, and I also have it connected to go straight to my Facebook. It's very popular among the youth, and the youth is the population that's the most affected, as we all know, here in the US and in the world. And again, hashtags are very important. Next slide, please.
So I'm just going to jump in real quick, Maria. So the next few slides are like kind of real, like hands-on, like, you've been kind of doing a lot of it already, so we're running a little bit out of time, and I just wanted to say that, like, I think you've kind of mentioned a lot of this, so we might not need to go through each slide, but as I mentioned, these slides will be available on our website, and you'll all get a notice about them, so we just wanted to make sure, we have enough time if there's any questions. We also, I think the video might be ready to play, but so I don't want to cut you off, but I feel like you've been doing a really great job of kind of giving the specifics. So these next few slides just kind of reiterate some of what you've talked about in terms of, like, how to, post on the specific platforms. And so if there's anything on the slides that you want to make sure you point out, but we might not go through every part here. Is that okay?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I believe that I went through almost everything, like the brand part when I created my name, Maria Chavez Mejia, with Twitter, on Twitter, including Mr. 45, which I cannot stand, but that's besides the point, using the hashtags, today's National Women, Girls, and HIV/AIDS Awareness Day, as far as the YouTube bilingual vlogs, uploading vlogs, as I mentioned, is easy. Consider naming your site something simple, add description, links, hashtags, share your videos, and ask also the people that follow you to share as well. It's very important that we all help each other. Next slide. Again, I already talked about Instagram, same thing. People are very visual. That's where the youth is at. It's not that complicated. Bringing it all together, that's what I was talking about, interconnecting everything. I make sure, and it gives you the option, is simple. You could connect all your social media tools. Even the Well Project, as I mentioned, we have the share option to share all the articles, all the blogs, share in Facebook, and Twitter. And it's pretty simple as if when you get the hang of it, it's very, very simple to do. Next slide.
And I think, just to reiterate a certain point here, is that, we're not saying the Well Project is the only trusted resource, but just, you always want to check your, before you, like, sometimes things will have a title, but you really should click through to the link before you share, and just make sure you kind of check the source, and that it's a trusted source, and that the content is, you're okay, because a lot of times, sometimes there's like what they call clickbait, and people will have a headline that's catchy and they want people to share it, and and then it ends up being not really a trusted source of information. So just always verify your sources.
Absolutely.
So we have about 5 minutes left. I don't know if anyone has any questions. We did something different. We could try sharing the video really quickly, but if anyone has any questions before we do that, and we could just kind of end our webinar with the video. You can always reach out to us if you have any specific questions on how to set something up or utilize the resources. And Maria, I know she does a lot of this already, but she's also really helpful if someone wants to connect on social media. But we are also here as a resource, and also to connect you if you're in a certain community and you don't feel that you've got a local community. A lot of times, you know, we're able to find others to connect, you know, through someone that is, you know, part of our membership or a blogger, or, you know, through our partners, like PWN has chapters all over the country, you know, and we have a lot of organizations that we work with around both the U.S. and globally that we're, you know, here to kind of help find connections when we can. So I'm going to try playing the video, but before I do that, I just want to thank everyone for being here, and I want to thank Tiami and Maria so much for, you know, all the information, valuable information that you shared. I think it's, you know, seriously, like, just super helpful to have that hands-on and to hear your personal experiences and how you you do that. So, Maria, you know, can you say your YouTube username? Is it Maria HIV or Mejia?
Actually, the best way to find all my social media networks is just to put in Google Maria HIV Mejia. But if you want to go directly to my YouTube channel, the only thing you have to put is Maria Mejia or Maria HIV Mejia. But just Maria Mejia, you'll immediately find my YouTube channel.
Great. And I see there's a question about A Girl Like Me and if it's available in South Africa. It's available globally. I mean, basically, it's not a local program, but, you know, anyone can join to become a blogger for A Girl Like Me. So all you need to do is send us an email or contact us through Facebook or any way, and we'll help you get started and have A Girl Like Me, you know, become a blogger if that's something you're interested. And we've had some bloggers from South Africa. We haven't had anyone active lately, and I mean, we would love to have you join and have your voice be part of the community. In terms of volunteer work, probably there are a lot of times. I mean, to be honest, right now we're like, you know, often stretched a little thin to even like figure out how to create those opportunities, but definitely be in touch. And, you know, certainly if we're, you know, on the ground in your community, there's definitely, or like at a conference or different things, but yeah, I'm sure we could figure out and ways to work together, which would be great. Maria said she can't hear, but anyways, I want to thank you all, and I am going to try to just play the video, and if you can stay on, great. If you can't, we'll again send you the link, but we're really excited about the video and hope that, you know, in your work, if you're trying to reach out to other women living with HIV, that it would be a good way to share and kind of tell the story of who we are and what we have in terms of resources. So thank you all, and here is our video, and hopefully it works. Oh no, now it's not there. All right, you know what? I'm going to give up on the video. I will send a link to you all after this webinar, and then we'll also follow up probably next week and you know, send a quick evaluation of the webinar and give you, you know, have you provide us with any feedback, as well as a link to the recording of today's webinar for you to have. So, all right. Thank you very much, and I hope everyone got a lot out of this, and we're really grateful for you to join us today. I know it's a Friday, and I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend.
Thank you, Krista.
Thanks, Tiami. Thanks, Maria. Thank you, Jenna. Thank you all. Okay. Bye, all. Bye, Jose.